Six Nations, 24 points to 27. Ireland get the win away over Scotland. It's been a few hours since I watched this. I got up just before 4 o'clock in the morning to watch it. So how clear or blurry my recollection of this game is remains to be seen. Man, it was a close one. I think Ireland will be pretty disappointed with how close it ended up getting after they had a pretty big lead. Scotland will be pretty frustrated that at home they allowed a team to get 14 points ahead of them and they had to chase the game down. I guess there's positives to both sides, and Ireland were able to see out the game and Scotland were able to make a fight back, but I don't think either side will be entirely happy with the result. But yeah, funny game. Had some weird moments. Weird. Anyway, I'll go through the key events, some of the stats, and you guys can let me know what you reckoned as well. Ireland started, I thought, with a bit of kind of fire and brimstone. They were really fired up. They went 10 plus phases early, relentless, and they won a penalty, kicked it 3-0. Scotland were turned over early with Tyke Byrne at a maul. Ireland were just all over Scotland early on. 7 minutes. Henshaw got one of the most bizarre tries in a game it's not even the most bizarre try. There's a couple of other tries which are bizarre for their own reasons, but Henshaw gets one because Sexton does a cross kick to Earls out on the right wing. It looks too big. It looks like it's going to go into touch, but it manages to stay in. I haven't gone back and watched another replay of it. I feel like people got hands to it. But everyone ends up kind of overrunning it as the ball just sits there in the end goal and Henshaw is the first guy to pounce on it. It's a bit of a comedy of errors, but it works out for Ireland. 8-0 because the conversion hits the post. 11 minutes, Scotland actually get a penalty. Ireland not rolling away to make it 8 points to 3. At least that shot stops a little bit of the momentum that was all Ireland at the time. So it was a good kind of blocker to try and get Scotland a chance to stabilise the game because it was pretty hairy early on. 16 minutes, big Irish scrum penalty, and then Sexton misses touch. What is it with these guys missing touch? It's happened multiple times in this tournament. It seems like such a schoolboy one. Like, I know it happens, everybody makes mistakes, but it just seems to have happened. I can think of at least 4 times. It happened twice in this game, where guys either kicked it dead or kicked it short. I don't know. Coach killer anyway. 20 minutes. Ireland go 1 metre out, but Scotland won a breakdown. And Gibson Park had a little snipe, but he got himself isolated. So yeah, he got turned over. Murray didn't even get on this one actually. Gibson Park played the whole game. 22 minutes, Scotland get a turnover, and Russell, in one of his better kicks of the game, he hoofs it way down the other end of the field. And it's a proper nice kick. Like, there's not that many times when you're looking at the list of highlights, and it doesn't mean the game was bad. It was just that was the kick. Like, it's not like there's nothing else to talk about. But it was such a nice kick from Finn Russell. Hopefully Warren Gatland had an eye on that one, and maybe not on one of the ones later on. But really, really nice kick right into the Irish corner. So a total turnaround from Ireland being on attack to getting turned over and then having to defend, or at least win their own line-up ball down their own end. Russell got a try, speaking of bizarre tries, on 27 minutes. I was sure it was a knock-on, but actually Stuart Hogg, and you have to go and watch the highlights, somehow kicked the ball up into his own face, or his chin, to propel it forward. Well, if Russell had done it, I might have sworn he did it intentionally. But, yeah, he propels the ball off his own face, so it's not a knock-on. And Scotland managed to go in front. First lead change of the game. Russell's the man who ends up getting the try. 10 points to 8. Bizarre. But not the only bizarre one. There's more bizarreness to come. 37 minutes. Scotland this time with a big scrum. Get a penalty. Kick for touch. Their line-out, they throw it straight to CJ Stander. And the Scottish line-out was god-awful. Like, really, really bad. I know they're down McAnally and Brown, but, man, like, legit terrible. Anyway, Sexton kicks a penalty on 34 to put them back in front. 11 points to 10. Second lead change of the game. Russell misses one on 37. Ireland get one last one right before halftime. So halftime it's 14 points to 11. Pretty tight game. Just the one kick in it. Ireland have had more possession, 58%, more territory, 57 at halftime. You look at the time in opposition 22 stat though. At halftime, 2 minutes and 32 seconds for Ireland in the Scottish 22. 15 seconds for Scotland in the Irish 22. So the fact that Scotland are only 3 points down is actually not too bad. Like, they were seriously under the pump in the early stages of that game. Handling errors a wee bit high, 8-5 at halftime, with Ireland having more. Both sides tackling the 90% though, like 96 each, so pretty high. Scotland's lineout at that point is 1 from 5, which is just, that's not going to cut it at like high school level, man. Let alone like club rugby, Pro 14, international level. That's just not great. 46 minutes. Interesting switch of tact for Ireland. They have a kickable penalty, which they opt for touch, but it pays off because Tyke Byrne on 48 minutes gets a bizarre try. It was a bizarre one because it's from about a metre out. Tyke Byrne seems to have forced his way over, but Sam Johnson also looks to maybe be under him. But Romain Poit, the ref, virtually just shoves his entire face, his head, his upper body into the melee and just says, yeah, he can see a grounding. Like, if you just saw the pile of bodies, you'd see 3 different kinds of socks. Irish socks, Scottish socks, referee socks. That's all you could see. Legs, bodies, and then the ref's head poking around in there. There's no way any TMO will get a closer view than that view that the ref had. Unbelievable. And he got knocked on his ass knocked on his backside a couple of times in this game as well. He was really involved. Maybe not getting knocked on your bum is a great thing for a ref, but anyway. He saw the grounding, 21 points to 10. Richie gives away a penalty at the breakdown on 54 minutes, and Ireland convert that one to make it 24-10. At that point, it's looking like game over. 24-10, 14 points. Points have been relatively hard to come by. And then Finn Russell doesn't make it any easier when he has a penalty to kick for touch, and he kicks it dead. He'll be hoping Warren Gatland was looking the other way for that one. That's what I mean about kind of, unforced errors from these guys kicking for touch. We've seen Billy Burns do it. We've seen Sexton do it a couple of times. Yeah. 59 minutes. Scotland do bring the game alive after that poor moment from Russell missing touch. But again, someone actually said during the live stream, maybe it's better they didn't get a line out. Maybe that's what they were trying to avoid. They didn't want line outs because their line out was shocking. The Scots get a try. Hugh Jones absolutely powers over. It's Hogg who gets it to Jones. Kind of beats James Lowe. James Lowe cops an absolute, I don't know, some hot attention from Irish fans after his performance in this game, even though Ireland won. Not his finest outing, but anyway. And Hogg, interestingly, takes the conversion because Russell ends up going off for an HIA. It's 24-17. 24-17 is game on. Ireland go like 11 phases, building some proper momentum, and then James Lowe just like passes it into touch. It's a weak effort where he seems to be in two minds, not sure what to do. He ends up doing nothing much, and it's another reason he gets subbed not long after. But yeah, 69 minutes. Duhan Van der Merwe punches it up. They win a penalty to the Scots. This time they go for a tap because they don't want lineouts. They get another advantage. It's a yellow card warning, and it's another weird moment where the ref wants to tell Johnny Sexton, maybe talk to your guys, but Johnny Sexton's like wary as, after watching the England and Wales game, like, don't do anything, and the ref's like, don't be scared. Weird, man. Bizarre game. Am I remembering this right? I was up pretty early, up before 4 in the morning. But anyway, he gets a chance to talk to his guys. Scotland absolutely turn the screws. They go like 14 phases. Credit to the Irish defence for holding out as long as they did. Scotland for the attack, which was able to not knock the ball on. Duhan Van der Merwe at one point on the ground. Looks like he was about to go into touch. Manages to keep the ball in play. Like, credit to both sides. Eventually, it's Watson who gets the try. The TMO checks the grounding. It looked like a try to me, and it was given. Which is weird, because I've seen a few tries this weekend where I've been questioning the Adams one and the Itoje one. The Itoje one was more because the ref said on-field no try. and the video evidence to overturn has to be conclusive. But anyway, that one I thought looked like a try, and sure enough, it was a try. I don't know, people with bigger TVs than me have told me the Itoja one's night and day, so there we go. But yeah, great build-up in the play and a great result for Scotland. And suddenly it's all tied up. Suddenly Scotland have come back at the death. However, they kind of let it off lightly, man, pretty much straight from the restart. I think they get charged down. Is it Baird that does the charge down? And then Price gets stuck with the ball. He gets tackled by Baird, and then Henderson gets in there for a turnover. Price doesn't release the ball, gets penalised. Tough kick for Sexton, but he nails it. 27 points to 24. Scotland, from the restart, are unable to score any points. They end up knocking it on, and it is an Irish 3-point victory. So yeah, weird game. Like, some of the handling, maybe the conditions were a bit wetter than they looked on the camera. Some of the handling was a bit poor. Some of the execution, like the lineouts and whatnot, there were a lot of turnovers. But like, the game itself was intense. Had some totally bizarre tries, some bizarre moments. Had a cracking finish. So I'm not complaining. Good entertainment. Stats, Ireland finished with more territory and possession, 53 and 54% respectively. The time in opposition 22 actually kind of evens out in that second half. So it's 3 minutes 53 and 3 minutes 27 overall, with Scotland actually ending up with more. Probably largely due to that 14 phase play that went for ages. Tackling percentage 96 to 88, so pretty high both sides. Penalties conceded 11 to 9, with Scotland having 2 more. Yeah. Furlong with the sidesteps, the jinking run. What on earth, man? I must have been dreaming that one. Tyke Furlong, I think he stepped Turner, who fell on his haunches, and then he pretty much stepped and shimmied past Finn Russell as well. I'm pretty sure that happened. Like, speaking of weird. Byrne gets man of the match, scores a try, turnovers, whatnot. He didn't even play the whole game. Keenan looked pretty assured at the back. Believe it or not, the stats say James Lowe only had 1 missed tackle. But he's not quite stepped up at international level, and that might be putting it a bit kindly. Henderson, though, 21 tackles for him. Phenomenal effort. Duarte van der Merwe breaks 8 tackles. Johnny Gray makes 19. Still some positive sides for both sides to take out of this one. Ireland have got England at home, which will be a really great test for both sides, because both sides will be pretty disappointed the way they started the tournament, but they've both looked better. Ireland in the last 2 games, England especially in that victory over France. Scotland are at home to Italy. They could do with a nice win before they end up taking on France in that kind of postponed game. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think Ireland... Because, man, the games they lost were pretty close. Do you think Andy Farrell's almost got them to being the real deal, or was Scotland poor? What was the weirdest moment of the game? Was it Furlong sidesteps? Was it the ref getting into the ruck? Was it Hogg smashing it off his face as a move to get the ball forward? You guys have any thoughts? I'll talk to you soon. See you later.